this video, I'm going to get into the details of the pillars for this method of education. The fundamentals of Montessori, each of which is very important, could be listed as prepared environment, natural learning desire in the child, concrete learning, observation, independence, responsibility, respect, and as well as critical periods. From now on, I will talk about each of them in more detail in the subsequent slides. Okay, now we can discuss about preparing the environment for the child, which is the most basic principle of Montessori. What actually does it provide? How should the prepared environment look like? The prepared environment can be any place where the child will be found, such as our home, classroom, summer house, or backyard. In this environment, there should be materials that are very critical and that are at the most appropriate level for children, that will force children a little, but they will not discourage them from the activity. We must make sure that the activities are complete as well as no part is missing, so that the children can work independently and develop themselves. What about the materials? Materials like trays, cloths to wipe spills, art supplies, glasses in a size suitable for children should be placed in this environment to further develop child's independence. This is actually going to facilitate for them. The fact that the environment is simple and beautiful, away from the clutter, is very significant to develop aesthetic perception of the children. To beautify the environment, some artworks and plants can also be added. Finally, to see if the environment is suitable for the children, you can sit on the floor and look at the room at children's eyes level to assure that the prepared environment is actually targeting appropriately them. Where does our natural learning desire come from? Will the prepared environment impact our learning desire? Children have an intrinsic motivation to learn. Montessori method of education argues that children's curiosity and desire to learn develop more easily and efficiently in an environment prepared for them correctly. Another important principle of Montessori is concrete learning. This is a property processed in the brain and, more importantly, shaped by our activities. The most memorable of these activities are the things we learn by using our hand, because the hand receives the information to be processed concretely by the brain. Montessori activities and materials included are designed in such a way that the children can explore the things by our hand. So these hands, when we touch, they basically transmits the information in a different way to the brain and processed differently. When we apply these activities to our children, observing them simultaneously is also playing a key role in this method. The purpose of this observation is to educate themselves to analyze, to come to conclusions, to manage prejudices, and to let go of the desire to make prejudices about a child. By observing children, we can find out what level they are at, what they are trying to master, and what they are interested in, as well as what they need help with. All of these important findings are going to increase the success of this method for the children. Also, during the application of this method, it is very crucial to provide the child with enough independence. Although children's freedom and self-sufficiency form the basis of Montessori philosophy, this freedom also has its limits. As parents or a teacher, we can clearly set our expectations to children and set some boundaries with compassion. In addition to this, we should help them learn about responsibility. From the moment children start walking, we realize that they want to take responsibility in daily life and they like it. But this learning process of responsibility to meet their needs in daily life should be without harming others or things while doing so. Not only not harming others, but also respecting them is very significant. Montessori and traditional education, we mentioned that the children, adults, and the environment are in a dynamic relationship. Thanks to this dynamic relationship, not only the child respects the adult, but also the adult is expected to respect the child and their desires. Finally, let's focus on the last essential principle of Montessori method of education, known as critical periods. The question becomes what the critical periods are. When the child pays special attention to any area, such as toddlery, mathematics, reading, language, etc., then it is called as critical period. The age of 1 to 3 is a very sensitive period for language development. Children watch our mouth movements and repeat us. After the 19 months, the baby's language development accelerates. During this period, it is important to use rich language, read books, and name objects correctly to support the child's language development. Children aged between 1 to 3 years like to have everything in order. During this period, children want to know what awaits them. Questions such as when to sleep, when to eat, and when to play are very important for the children. Take advantage of routines such as wearing pajamas and reading books before sleep so that the child knows what to expect later. Keeping the house tidy and avoiding clutter during this period is very valuable for the child to maintain this later in their life. Children between the ages of 18 months and 3 have the capacity to notice even the smallest detail. Precisely for this reason, this period is an opportunity to create an aesthetic perception in children. The age between 0 and 2 period is defined as the sensory learning period for children. The children in this age range learn from their senses, such as seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, while exploring the world. It is very beneficial to organize activities for each sense and present them to the child so that they can complete their sensory development and not be sensorily sensitive in later years. While children are exploring with their senses, it is again vital that the environment is adjusted to the child to avoid any dangerous situation. By the time the children are 2.5 years old, they have acquired many attitudes and behaviors. In this period, instead of advising or giving speeches for children to develop the attitudes and behaviors we want, we should choose to be the right model for the child from the birth. In this sense, we should be an example to the child at every opportunity, but while doing this, we should be very careful to stay in the natural flow.